Welcome back, first graders. So today's read aloud is called Marvelous Moving Muscles. We're going to review the human body as a network of systems that work together to keep us alive. We're going to review the parts of a skeletal system. We're going to describe the connection between the muscular system and the skeletal system. We're going to demonstrate an understanding of the word voluntary. And we're going to identify an image that represents the muscular system. So our key vocabulary for this story, involuntary, muscles, tendons, and voluntary. So involuntary is an adjective, and that means that it is done without choice or thought. So it just kind of happens. You don't have to think about it. You're not trying to do it. It just happens. So breathing is an involuntary action because you're breathing all the time, but you don't have to think about it. Like when you're asleep, you're not thinking about breathing. And when you're going through your day, you're not thinking about breathing. Right now, you're probably thinking about breathing because we're talking about thinking about breathing. But it's not something that you have to think about to do, meaning it's involuntary. Muscles. Muscles, it's a noun, and muscles are tissues, not like what you blow your nose on, but tissues that make your bones move, okay? Her muscles flexed as she lifted weights. And over here you can see a picture of a guy with big old muscles. Tendons. Tendons is a noun, and tendons are tough tissues that connect the muscles to the bone. Long distance runners sometimes tear their tendons from overuse. So you've got muscles, which are tissues, and they help you move, right? We just talked about that. And then you have tendons that connect your muscles to your bones, okay? Voluntary. Voluntary is an adjective, all right? And that means that it is done by choice. So you are choosing to do it, okay? His participation in the race was voluntary. He chose to run the race. And when we're in morning meeting, and sometimes you guys, when I ask who wants to share first, and you raise your hand, your answer is voluntary. You're choosing to answer, okay? All right, so let's review and do a little bit of background information. Dr. Wellbody, the rhyming pediatrician, is teaching you guys about the several systems working within your bodies, okay? And each system is made up of different organs or parts that do special jobs for the human body. The systems are all tied together in a network. Remember, we talked about networks to keep the human body alive and healthy. What did you learn about the skeletal system in the previous read aloud? So what were some things that you learned about the skeletal system? I want you to pause this video and tell me a few things, and then you can unpause it. Okay, one thing that I learned that I think is like super, super cool is that we have 206 bones, right? And that bones, they're really strong, but they don't weigh a lot, okay? We are going to play a quick little review game, and it is the stand up, sit down game, okay? We played this before. So if something is part of the skeletal system, then I want you to stand up. If it is not part of the skeletal system, I want you to stay sitting or sit down. Okay, so is your mouth part of the skeletal system? You should be sitting down because your mouth is not part of the skeletal system. What about your skull? Your skull, is that part of the skeletal system? Yeah, it is part of your skeletal system, so you need to be standing up. Remember, your skull is what's protecting your head, your brain. What about your spine? Your spine. Is that part of your skeletal system? It is. So you should be standing up. Remember, your spine is on your back. It's the bone that goes all the way down, right? What about your heart? Is your heart part of the skeletal system? No, it is not. So you should be sitting down. And the last one, what about your eyes? Are your eyes part of the skeletal system? No, so we're going to stay sitting down. All right. Do you remember in the last read aloud how Dr. Wellbody said that today's lesson was about another system that works with the skeletal system to help us move? Well, today we're going to learn about the muscular system. Okay? Don't forget our vocabulary. We have involuntary, muscles, tendons, and voluntary. Okay? And I want you to listen carefully for those words during our read aloud. And if you hear it, you're going to raise your hand. All right. And I also want you to listen carefully to learn how the muscular system works with the skeletal system to make your body move. Okay. So, hi everyone. It's Dr. Wellbody, the rhyming pediatrician, back to talk about the human body. Did you figure out what we're going to talk about this time? That's right, muscles. Did you raise your hand? Because muscles is one of our vocabulary words. Your muscles help your body move so you can walk, breathe, swallow, speak, and do many other things. Together, your muscles make up your muscular system. I don't know why that did that. Hang on. I think I went to the wrong page. Here we go. Okay, there are 650 muscles in your body. Do you remember how many bones you had in your body? 206. So if we have 206 bones, but we have 650 muscles, do we have more bones or more muscles in our body? We have more muscles. Some muscles are big, like the ones on your legs, and some are small, like the ones in your face. Muscles crisscross the body so you can move in many different ways. Muscles move by contracting or getting shorter and then relaxing or getting longer. Okay, so this is contracting, which means it's getting smaller. You see that? And this is relaxing and getting longer. Okay, so I want you to take your arms, okay, and this is your bicep right here. So if your hand is up, you're going to take your arm out, and this is your bicep, okay? I want you to put one hand on it gently. Now, I want you to flex your arm. So you're contracting your muscles. You're making them shorter. And then I want you to relax your arm. And you should feel it get longer, okay? So flex or contract. Now relax. Now let's see. Ready? Contract or flex. Relax. Good job. Okay. Tendons, raise your hand because that is a vocabulary word. Tendons are part of your muscular system. Feel behind your knee. Can you feel behind your knee? I'm going to try and feel behind my knee. Right here. Feel behind your knee. Okay. There are some strong rope-like bands under the skin. You can feel them. They're kind of like on the sides of your, underneath your knee. They're kind of on the side. Okay. You should be able to feel them. And they are some strong rope-like bands that are under the skin, and they are called tendons. Can you say that word for me? Tendons. So tendons are cords that attach your muscles to your bones, okay? The muscles that move your bones are called your skeletal muscles. And your skeletal muscles are voluntary. Did you hear that word? Voluntary. Skeletal muscles are voluntary muscles. That is because you control them with your brain by thinking. Pretend that you are throwing a ball. Pretend to throw a ball. Your brain is telling your arm muscles to move back first and then move forward. At the same time that your brain is telling your hand muscles when to grasp the ball and when to let it go, right? Because when you move your arm back, your hand is closed, right? And then when you're throwing it, you're opening and pushing your arm away, right? So your brain is telling your arm and your hand to do that. Two muscles often work together in a pair to move bones. Touch the top of your upper arm. Okay, so touch the top of your arm. Now, I want you to feel the underside. So here. So remember, we talked about this was our bicep. And I want you to put your hand underneath. Okay, that is your tricep. Okay, when you threw that pretend ball just now, the biceps, they bend your elbows, right? So when you are flexing your bicep, you're bending your arm. Now, when you are straightening your arm and straightening your elbow, those are your triceps that are working. Okay, so your biceps and your triceps are working together to throw that ball. I want you to pretend to throw a ball again, and I want you to feel the different muscles moving around in there. It's kind of cool. All right. The muscles of your hand and arm work together in many ways. They help you make tiny, exact movements, like picking a crumb up off of the table. And they are there for you too when you need great strength, like doing a handstand. The most movable part of your hand is your thumb. Try wiggling yours. It can move in many different directions, more than any of your other fingers. What do you see in this picture? What do you see? There are many muscles in your face, mostly attached to your skin. Did you know that you need muscles to help you laugh, frown, or even raise your eyebrows? All the muscles we've talked about so far are voluntary, meaning you have to decide when to move them. Other muscles in your body are involuntary. Raise your hand because that was a vocab word. That means that you don't have to think about telling these muscles to move. They do it automatically. Involuntary muscles keep your blood flowing and your food moving through your body. Think about these two actions in your body. So, kicking a ball and blinking your eyes. Which do you think is voluntary and which do you think is involuntary? So, kicking a ball, do you think that's voluntary or involuntary? Remember, voluntary means you have to think about it, and involuntary means you don't have to think about it. And what about blinking your eyes? Is that voluntary or involuntary? Kicking a ball is voluntary. You're thinking about it. And blinking your eyes just happens naturally. You don't have to think about it, right? So that's involuntary. What is an organ? Who remembers what an organ is? An organ is a part of your body that performs a specific job or function, like your stomach or your kidneys. What organ do you see in this picture? It's your heart. Do you have to tell your heart to beat, or does it work automatically on its own? It works on its own. Your heart is another kind of involuntary muscle. It is called cardiac muscle. This thick, powerful muscle contracts and relaxes over and over again on its own without stopping. It pumps the blood all around your body once every minute. Your heart is a very important muscle that is necessary for your body to live. Do you want to know which muscle is the largest muscle in your body? Here's a hint. You're probably sitting on it right now. It is your gluteus maximus, or your buttock muscle. You have two of them, one on each side. So, what muscle is your biggest muscle? Your butt. Isn't that weird? Okay. So, now I have another question for you. Which muscle is the one that is needed to keep working in order for you to stay alive? So, what muscle keeps you alive? Your heart. Okay. Now, since our time together is coming to a close for today, here's a goodbye rhyme from Dr. Wellbody, the rhyming pediatrician. I'm glad that I have muscles. They help me to have fun, to jump and kick a soccer ball, to smile, speak, and run. I'm glad that I have muscles and glad that you do too. So you can wave goodbye to me and I can wave to you. When we meet next time, we will have a lot to chew on. That is a clue as to what body system we're going to be learning about. Can you guess what it is? See you again soon. All right, guys, if you need to stand up and take a stretch or wiggle break, please do that and then come right back for our comprehension questions and word work. All right, so what do the muscles that make up your muscular system help you do? What do muscles do? Why do we have them? They help us move, right? And how do tendons help your muscular and skeletal systems work together? The tendons are the cords that attach your muscles to your bones, okay? And tendons are rope-like bands that are under the skin. What two things do they join together? Muscles and bones. How do the muscles in your face help you communicate with others? So what do the muscles in your face do? What do they help us do? Raise our eyebrows. Can you raise your eyebrows? What about smile? Can you feel your muscles in your face? Put your hands on your cheeks lightly and now smile. What about frown? Can you frown? Or if you laugh, okay? Muscles in your face help you do all of this. What is the difference between voluntary and involuntary muscles? So what is a voluntary, what do voluntary muscles mean? That means that you're deciding to move those muscles, right? And what about involuntary muscles? They work on their own. You don't even have to think about it. All right, how does the muscular system help the skeletal system? Your muscles help you move your body, right? And your bones give you support. Okay. So the muscular system helps move your bones, and tendons attach muscles to bones. The muscles that move your bones are called skeletal muscles, and skeletal muscles are voluntary, meaning you can control them. All right, let's do some word work really quick. In the read aloud you heard, skeletal muscles are voluntary muscles. I want you to say the word voluntary for me. Can you say it in a whisper voice? Voluntary. Can you say it in a mouse voice? Voluntary. Can you say it in a robot voice? Voluntary. Let me see you do it with your arms too. Voluntary. Good job. All right, so voluntary means you're doing it by choice. You are choosing to do it. My decision to wear a coat today was a voluntary decision. I want you to tell me something that you did that was voluntary or something that you chose to do. And I want you to use the word voluntary when you tell me about it. So pause the video and then unpause it once you've told me. Okay, what's that word we've been talking about? Voluntary. Now we are going to use the words voluntary and involuntary in a little mini game, okay? So I'm going to give you a statement, and if it's something that you're choosing to do, you're going to say, that is voluntary. And if it's something that you're not choosing to do and it just kind of happens automatically or without you thinking about it, I want you to say, that is involuntary, okay? So swinging a bat to hit a ball. That is voluntary, right? Because I'm choosing to do that. Okay, what about your heart beating faster when you exercise? That's involuntary because I'm not thinking about that. It just happens. What about choosing which shirt to wear today? That is voluntary. How about blowing out the candles on your birthday cake? That's voluntary too, right? You're thinking about it. And how about blinking your eyes? Blink your eyes. Blinking your eyes is involuntary. You can make it voluntary if you go like this, but if you're just blinking your eyes regularly throughout the day, that's not something that you're thinking about, okay? All right. So today we reviewed the human body as a network of systems that work together to keep us alive. We reviewed some parts of the skeletal system. We described the connection between the muscular system and the skeletal system. We were able to define and use the word voluntary. And in just a minute, you're going to identify an image that represents or shows the muscular system. All right, guys, thanks for watching.